My name is Cassy Summers. Welcome to the Curious Universe podcast. Welcome to another episode of the Curious Universe podcast. I'm your host, Cassy Summers, and thank you for joining me today. So, what shall we explore? How often have you pretended that something worked for you when it really didn't? I'm talking all areas of your life. I'm talking in the workplace. I'm talking at home. Maybe it's with your family. Maybe it's with your partner. Maybe it's even the things that you've created in your life or the things with yourself, even in friendship. Those places where we suck it up. Have you ever heard that? Were you ever told that as a child? Just suck it up. Just suck it up. Now, as a female, and yes, I'm going into the gender thing for a moment. I apologize if that is insulting to anyone, but as a female, one of the things that we're bred culturally here in Canada anyways, is to, you are undesirable if you're a complainer. And all women are complainers. So you're fighting against something that you have been labeled as already. So you come in as a female, you're dramatic, you complain a lot. These are all the stereotypes, right? And so then being a female, you have to fight against and prove against being those stereotypes. And now that leads us to the place of pretending that something works for you when it doesn't, because you don't want to be what for in this realm of gender awareness. It's for a lot of females, it's I don't want to be that girl. I don't want to be the complainer. I don't want to be the dramatic one. I don't want to be the easygoing chick that everyone seems to like. That's the girl I want to be. So if I'm doing anything that doesn't match that, I'm now wrong. So what is that? What is that for males? Well, suck it up. Be a man. Don't complain. Take action. They have their whole other set of rules. And then we go into, there's other aspects of possibly being a gay male or a gay woman. And it can go on and on and on. Let's not go down those definitions. Instead, what if we explored curiously, for whatever reason, whatever set of rules that you bought, whatever you decided would happen if you aggressed to, that doesn't work for me. It could be, so now, again, we're pulling gender off to the side here. You're in the workforce. So what have you been told? What have you believed? If you complain, you won't rise in the ranks. You won't get raises. You're going to be the employee that gets fired. What have you decided would happen if you acknowledged the things that don't work for you? What if that wasn't even complaining? I wonder. It makes me think of, you get into a new relationship, right? You're falling in love with this person. There's so many great things. There's so many possibilities. There's so many futures that you could explore with them, right? And there's these things that are, like no one's perfect. And you're like, that's okay. That's okay that they do that. When really what's true for you is it's not okay. It's not okay that they do that or that they don't do something. I've worked with clients where they've expressed their love language to their partner. What really makes me feel loved is positive affirmations or quality time or whatever that is. And their partner might have different love language. And when they ask their partner, hey, would you be willing to speak my love language? And they don't, a lot of my clients are faced with this place of, yeah, but I love them. So I need to act like it's okay. Otherwise, we'll just be fighting all the time. Otherwise this, otherwise that. Here goes to that punishment system. So the reward system is based on sucking it up, then you get rewarded, right? It's easier. There's less conflict. There's less drama. There's less trauma going on. There's your punishment, or there's your reward system. This is, if really looking at the punishment and the rewards will give you a greater sense of your own entrainment, where you've been entrained through society, through family, through social engagements. You learn the punishment and you learn the reward. This is how we train a lot of animals. Reward system. If you do this in the way I want you to do it, you get a treat. If you don't, you either get yelled at or a spanking, or you get put into a kennel. We often do this with children. We base them on a reward system. It's an overall entrainment that we have, that we grow our society based on. So when you can identify your own entrainment, what that can open for you is a space where you can look at different possibilities. And you can look at, is it true? Is it true that you will receive this punishment? Is it true that you will receive this reward? Because we'll transfer it. We'll transfer it across all boards. So maybe you had a partner a long time ago, and if you ever brought up stuff that was bothering you, you had massive punishment. They would turn it around. Somehow you would be apologizing for it. It would just, for weeks, they would just be mad at you, or they would withdraw from you. They would separate from you. They would take all their caring away. And so that was a massive punishment. And what we'll do is we'll carry that on to the next relationship now. So now the relationship's starting, you're all excited. Oh, something's coming up. You have this entrainment. Don't bring it up. If you bring it up, you know what's going to happen. Because this has happened before. It's going to happen again. You don't want to go down that path again, do you? Punishment. Or, you know what the reward is? It's just going to be easier and more peaceful if I just suck it up. Just suck it up. It's not that big of a deal. And you're almost telling yourself this. So notice your internal monologue, the conversations going on in your head. It's not that big a deal. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that big a deal. It is fine. If it wasn't that big of a deal, you wouldn't be having that conversation with yourself. If it wasn't a big deal to you, it would be, oh, interesting. And you would move on. You wouldn't think about it again. It wouldn't be in your world. If it's coming up, there's something there. Now, I am not suggesting that every little irksome thing in your world that you need to deliver to someone else, make it their problem. I'm asking them to change or anything like that. But what if even just in the acknowledgement, you can create an opening of space and peace for yourself, Then we can use the tools to move on for something else. But just in this moment, Could you tap into the possibility of what it would be like for you if something came up? So let's take the workplace. Let's say every time you deliver something, you're really excited about it. You deliver it to your manager, your boss, or whoever, and they never acknowledge it. And they take it and then they'll make money off of it. They'll receive it. It will expand the business, but they never acknowledge you for it. Now, let's say that this is the type of thing that would bother you. Maybe it wouldn't. For some of you, you're like, it doesn't matter. I know it's awesome. I don't need anyone's acknowledgement. And that's an amazing place to be. I would like us to all get there too. But there's a piece here of when you want to get there, you want to get to the place of where it doesn't bother you. And many of us have decided that the way to get there is to actually negate what's coming up, to pretend it doesn't bother you as though that's the same thing. That is not the same thing. What if there was something different available for you? Now, get curious here for a second and notice that difference. Notice when something's come up and it's not been a big deal and you have space around it, you have total allowance. And in Access Consciousness, we talk about Access Consciousness is a body of work. It's a set of tools and techniques that I engage with in my daily life. It's something I practice and institute all the time. And one of the most amazing tools is, what if everything was just an interesting point of view? But to get to that space, you cannot get there if you are suppressing and compressing and shutting off or shutting out the awareness of something that is bothering you. So pretending that you have allowance is not the same as being in total and true allowance. So everywhere you've been pretending or faking it until you make it, rather than actually looking at what you can apply to create what it is that you're looking for, would you be willing to open up to a new possibility here? So let's look at that thing, whatever that thing. Maybe it's your partner always leaves the toilet seat up. Oh my God, you left the toilet seat up again. Or maybe your kids, like my little guy, when he eats anything crunchy, it's just all over the floor. Like he tries, he does his best. I've seen him try not to make crumbs, but it's just all over the floor. And then my OCD goes crazy. And there have been times where I've been like, we got crumbs again. No big deal. And there have been times when it's been like, like I just cleaned this floor, but I don't want to be this way. I don't want to have this intensity. I don't want to direct anything at him. I don't want to be upset with him. So then when I'm trying to remember over here, we put over here on the shelf, this is interesting point of view. I would like to get to this space. And instead of actually using the tool, which I'm going to share a little bit more dynamically with you in a minute, instead of using the tool of interesting point of view, I pretend the tool and I take all this energy, all this upset that's coming up, and you suppress it, you compress it. Sometimes we shove it inside ourselves, or we shove it out into this like world here. And we just pretend it's fine. It's fine. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. Doesn't bother me. But it actually is killing you. These crumbs, this toilet seat, this employer that never acknowledges you, whatever that is, whatever it is. It could be that gentle criticism your mom always does. It could be the way your dad rolls his eyes at you every time you say something that's not logical. You're going to have your own stuff, right? What if suppressing and compressing yourself will never give you the reward will never truly give you the reward that you think is going to set you free. And what I've been looking at lately is, so what if all the punishments that I bought weren't real and true? And would I be willing to have them be true anyways and not align and agree with any punishment? Because who can punish you truly except for you? Now, when this might be a different situation, you're a child, your punishment could be go to your room, your electronics could be taken away, grounded. There's things there, right? But in your adult life, can you actually be punished? You can receive something like a punishment. So let's take the partner thing again. Let's say they do withdraw. Let's say they do separation, or they do anger at you. You actually can allow it to affect you or not. If you allow it to affect you, then you've aligned and agreed with the punishment. If you have total and true interesting point of view, then they're choosing what they're choosing, and then you can actually just continue to create your life beyond it. So what is interesting point of view? What is this tool that I've kind of been hinting at and talking about? So the way that I would kind of describe these kind of energetic things that come up, okay? So this could be, okay, here's frustration. Here is anger. Here is the sense of feeling like you're being negated, okay? So there's these things that come up. And again, a lot of us, what we do to try and handle them, to try and deal with them, is we either explode them out on everyone like it's everyone else's job, or we will suppress and compress them. We will internalize it. We will shove it out here. And let me just invite you to the possibility that what if, even if it's shoved in, shoved out, shoved away, it's still affecting you? So this is kind of the tools that we're given. This is what we can do. Suck it up, suck it in. Don't make a big deal about it. Why do you always have to make such a big deal about something? Okay. And you might even notice right now, I was talking about energy. There is a lot of energy up, right here. Because I'm asking you to bring it up so that we can actually change that energy and clear that energy out. So all this is up here, right? It's all this energy. Now, energy is changeable. All energy is changeable. It's malleable. It's not solid. And one really easy way to change this energy that comes up is to use this tool. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. Interesting point of view. I have this point of view. So you can repeat it out loud. You can say it in your head. You can just even bring up the energy of interesting point of view and relax into it. So let's take something silly like crumbs. Okay. So here's the crumbs that are on the floor. Again. It's frustrating. So, oh my gosh, I don't want to yell at my kid. I don't. And so here's, we're going to identify again. We're going to point out, here's all the punishments. Okay. If I don't suppress this, I'm going to yell at my kid. I'm going to make him feel terrible. I'm going to be the mom I don't want to be. I'm going to be the yelling mom like my mom was. And I don't want to be the yelling mom. I don't want my partner to see me freaking out or, okay, all these punishments. I'm going to blow his self-esteem. I'm going to make him feel awful. Okay. Punishments. Now let's look again at the reward system for a moment. So, but if I don't suppress this, if I suppress this, We can just have some peace. We can just move on from it faster. It doesn't have to be a big deal. These are the things that are going on in the background that you might not even know that are going on in the background. Part of becoming more conscious and expanding your consciousness is starting to get clear on the things that are going on in the background, acknowledging them and clearing out and moving out the things that aren't contributing to and expanding your consciousness. So these tapes that go on, these reward and punishment systems will never expand your consciousness because they lock you into a system that you are supposed to align and agree with, a system that you're supposed to use to be the good parent, the good partner, the good employee, the good person, the good whatever. So crumbs, energy, intensity, frustration. Now the conversation of the reward system, the punishment system, it's all coming up and it's all so quick. It's like in an instant. You could suppress it. You could compress it. Or you could go, okay, all this shit is up. How much of this is real and true for me? Because again, we have bought into an entrainment system just by kind of being on this planet. So we've had over and over and over our own parents being upset with us for crumbs. We've had our teachers being upset with us for crumbs. Maybe you were in daycare and there was crumbs everywhere. So there's all of this chatter. A lot of it might not even have ever belonged to you. So you can start to let all of that disappear and look at this and do this with, we're doing this with crumbs, but I would love to invite you to do this with anything that you're not truly being honest with yourself, vulnerable with yourself about. And I'm not saying that you have to be honest with everyone else. Like right now, we're just looking at being vulnerable with yourself. Where are you not being vulnerable with yourself about the things that do not work for you, that truly bother you? So we could look at this crumb thing and you might get to the place of you're like, actually, this really doesn't bother me. It takes me 2 seconds to sweep it up. I might even teach my kid how to sweep it up. Then he's going to feel empowered and this could be really great. Whoa, then it actually gets to leave your world. It gets to stop being a part of your world. With the partner that's always getting, toothpaste, like some people when they use toothpaste and it gets like everywhere and then it's dried. It's like, I'm revealing what a neat freak I am. And it's like, oh my God, again, like why does this person have to make a mess all the time? So look at that. Does it even matter to you? Does it matter to you, or does it matter for someone else? So this is kind of like one of the steps. So now you let go of the stuff that you thought didn't work for you, but you actually don't care about. Freedom. Do you sense that shift for you? So these things that you've been suppressing, that you've been shoving inside you or shoving out into this exoskeleton, some of them might actually not be a big deal for you, but they were a big deal to someone at some point, and you bought it as a big deal for you. Maybe that was the only way that you could get yourself to stop making crumbs on the floor, is that you made it such a big deal to get crumbs on the floor, and now you have to make crumbs on the floor an awful thing to everyone and everything. So you can let this piece go. And part of that is just acknowledging, whoa, I actually really don't even care. I don't care about crumbs on the floor. I don't care that the toilet seat's up. I can just put it down when I need to use it. It's not really a big deal to me. The boss with the acknowledgement, like, you know what? I'm so happy just to be here and contributing and are making my money. I don't really care what he thinks about me. Okay. So this is one step, is to, when you can just acknowledge, oh, this doesn't actually, not even really a big deal for me, but I've been holding it in my world as a big deal and pretending that it's not a big deal, which is like solidifies it forever. So then the next piece is acknowledging the things that truly are a big deal for you. And that doesn't make you wrong. And that doesn't make you a complainer or difficult or picky or whatever that is. What if it was okay to have preferences? What if it was okay that some things just don't work for you? So let's look at those for a moment. Maybe crumbs do really bother you. Not something you bought from someone else, but maybe it really bothers you. Maybe you have an OCD thing going on, whatever that is. Okay. Maybe the toothpaste really does bother you. Maybe having a boss that never acknowledges you, that doesn't work for you. Maybe that is like having your very being negated every day. Maybe you're in an abusive relationship. Maybe you're being like slowly gaslit by someone. Maybe it's a business partner, and you see all the possibility, and you just try to make it not a big deal. Maybe there are things that actually don't work for you that you're not acknowledging. So let's look at those for a second, okay? Would you be willing to get vulnerable and allow yourself to even know that they don't work for you? Because that's part of what's so crafty and tricky about people like us, magical people, is that we can pretend so well that we trick ourselves. So are you willing to be so vulnerable? So exposed to yourself. And you could just choose one thing at a time, okay? To really let yourself know what just doesn't work for you, that you've been maybe pretending was okay, it's fine, but really it's not. It's not okay, it's not fine. And now I'm going to ask you to let go of anywhere you've been judging yourself for that. Anywhere you've been judging yourself for not being okay with it, when somewhere you've decided that you should, or someone has told you that you should. You should be okay with this, it's fine. You're right, I should be okay with this. That's alignment and agreement. You're right. Anytime you say that, you're aligning and agreeing with someone, which is not true awareness. It is not true consciousness. It's an alignment and an agreement with someone else's point of view. What if you could have your own reality, your own universe, rather than a universe constructed on alignment and agreement with this reality, with the people you care about, with society? So everywhere you've been judging yourself for the things that truly just do not work for you, rather than acknowledging, wow, this does not work for me. Now, all the punishments though, but and then also all of the decisions. If you were to acknowledge that something didn't work for you, what have you decided is going to happen or not going to happen? Well, what if those aren't true either? Some of them might be true, some of them might not be true, but would you be willing to actually have your being your body, your life and living, the most valuable product in your reality. Because if that was true, then the top priority is that you are honored, that you are treated with regard, and forcing yourself into pretending that something works for you when it doesn't is that honoring. So where have you been forcing yourself into pretending that something works for you when it doesn't, and dishonoring yourself? And what if you had another choice? What if you're willing to destroy and uncreate all of that, and everywhere you've been choosing it over and over and over and over again, and destroy and create all the decisions that you made about it? Let it go, let it go, let it go. So one thing that we're doing here as we explore energetically is inviting space. So I was talking about all this energy coming up, but when you actually allow that energy to start to have more space, as though it were molecules moving out and inviting more space between all of these energies, more space, more space, more space, more space. That's where you can start to get a greater sense of you as a being. So now what do we do? What do we choose? What's possible now? You've acknowledged, wow, this really doesn't work for me. You actually, from that space, have a lot more choice. One of the lies is that you have less choice. If I acknowledge this doesn't work for me, then I'm going to have to get divorced. If I acknowledge this doesn't work for me, I'm going to have to quit my job. It's always like this worst case scenario, right? But here's the thing. If you're not even acknowledging that it doesn't work for you, how can your partner? How could they get the energetic information if you're actually suppressing it or holding it out somewhere else? Because if you're holding it away from you and creating unawareness around it, you're actually creating unawareness for them. And you could say, yeah, but I've talked to them about it. Yeah, I've told them. You might have. But again, you are a wizard. And if you tell someone something, but then create an energetic force field around it, an energetic, but don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me. And then they don't look at it and you go, how could you? How could you not look at this? You're starting to see a little bit of that, huh? So what if you just started with, okay, you know what? I'm just going to acknowledge it. This doesn't work for me. The way this company is run doesn't work for me. The way my partner treats me in public doesn't work for me. The way my kids treat me as a parent doesn't work for me. That first piece is allowing kind of like all the cloaks of unconsciousness and anti-consciousness to come off. Now you can look at what else is possible here? But until you do that first piece, you can't get to the what else is possible here because you're pretending that this is all good and dandy and fine. So if you ask what else is possible with the good and dandy and fine thing that is not good and dandy and fine and is cloaked in total unconsciousness, how can possibility even get in? Having that presence and having that awareness is so powerful. It is one of your greatest and most powerful capacities, is actually to get present with something, to acknowledge something without a point of view. That means you're not judging it. It's not right. It's not wrong. You're not right and you're not wrong. It's just, oh, wow, this has really bothered me for a very long time. And I would like this to change. What else is possible? Now I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You don't have to figure out how to change it. No, I know. That's crazy because probably all of your entrainment of life and living has indicated that you need to figure out how to change everything, how to fix it, how to alter it, how to. You just actually have to be curious. You have the awareness, you acknowledge it, and then you acknowledge what you're asking for. So it's one thing to be like, whoa, this doesn't work for me. But then what are you asking for? And with you, be here with you. I'm not saying you can have a conversation with your partner, your employer, your child, but be here with you first. Okay. So what are you truly desiring in this area that you probably haven't fully allowed yourself to know because you've been pretending that what was going on was okay, which means you would have to pretend that what you truly desired isn't what you truly desired. This is a lot of pretending going on. So would you let yourself know? What would it be? What would you ask for in this area? How would you like to be treated in public by a partner? How would you like your employer to interact with you? Get a sense of what that would be like for you. What would that be like? And if you're willing, allow it to be unattached. Detached is the word I'm looking for. Sorry about that. Detach from the specific person. Let's take the employer for a minute. Rather than what would it be like for this particular employer to acknowledge me, ask, what would it be like to have an employer, or to have even go one more step out of definition, to have a workspace where I am truly acknowledged for the gift and the brilliance of me? What would it be like to have a partner, to have a co-creationship, to have a creationship with someone that always that was willing to see me, that in public was really honoring? That what would it be like to have a creationship with my kids where I didn't feel like everything was on me? Okay, so you look at so you've identified, you finally let yourself know what's not working for you. You've acknowledged it. Now you're going to the next step and you're looking at what are you asking for that you don't have right now? What are you asking for that's different? Okay. And now you're going to actually pull energy through that ask. You're going to lower your barriers to receive it. And then you're going to let go of control. The universe is going to deliver it for you. It's like you ordered the pizza, right? You don't have to go down there, get in the kitchen, tell them how to cook the pizza, and sit in the passenger seat and drive next to the guy in the pizza delivery car all the way to your house to make sure it's done. You don't have to figure out how to do it. You have to get a sense of it. You have to ask for it and then follow every little whisper and know that it is, and know that the whisper, I would say every little whisper. I would say every whisper of consciousness. Let's just get clear on that. And what if you were willing to know that consciousness will show you the fastest and easiest way if you're willing to have ease, if you're willing to have it fast. If you're not willing to have ease and you're not willing to have it fast, it will show you the way that you're willing to receive it. So if you're only willing to receive it through difficulty, it will deliver it through difficulty. It doesn't have a point of view. So I hope this was a contribution, and I wonder how much more vulnerable with yourself you could be today. I wonder if you could allow yourself to, and you could do one at a time. It can be overwhelming to suddenly feel like, well, nothing works for me. My whole life doesn't work for me, and I just want to give up now. Maybe you just choose like one thing and practice with it, explore, get curious with it, explore these tools and see what is possible. And so through this ask, you might find yourself with a new employer, or you might find that your partner suddenly tells you that they have all this stuff going on and they would like to, have a weekend alone with you and just be able to talk freely. And maybe they open up to new spaces. There's truly infinite possibilities, but you will not be able to figure out all the possibilities. And it's not really that fun. You can just allow that expansion of consciousness and all of consciousness to contribute to what you are asking for. Yeah, cool. So how much curiosity can you instill in this area, and what is possible for you now? I always recommend people to acknowledge what's already changed from you just from listening to this podcast. Acknowledge what you were willing to be present with, even if it was a little bit, maybe it was a lot. Acknowledge that you're not wrong. And what if others aren't wrong either? That's that interesting point of view. No judgment. Nothing's right. Nothing's wrong. It's all just an interesting point of view. We'll see you in the next episode of the Curious Universe podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing these podcasts with anyone that you get. It would be a contribution to. I truly desire to create a more curious, expansive, conscious world. And every episode that you listen to and that others listen to facilitate that. Thank you. Thank you for exploring the curious universe with me. your curiosity matters. And what if together we could create a greater, more curious